Hello, my creative friends. Welcome to the Do It for the Process podcast. This episode is extremely timely, especially for my artists, creatives, small business owners, entrepreneurs, people that want to, especially artists who want to share their beautiful creative work without burning out. This episode is for you. And it's extremely timely because we're going to talk about social media, in particular Instagram, and whether you've known it or not, everything has changed. And I mean everything. So let's get into it and uncover it together. Okay, first and foremost, big breath in and a big breath out. We're not going to be stressed, okay? We've got this. Truly, we've got this. In case you're new here, I am your host, Emily Jeffords. This is my podcast, Do It for the Process. And I began Do It for the Process before COVID, before the world shifted. And I began saying the phrase, do it for the process, before it became a little bit of a, like a catchphrase for a lot of creatives, which I love. But I began sharing that phrase and it became a hashtag back in 2015. So 10 years ago, which is so incredible. And it was a moment of necessity for me, just reevaluating my own creative flow, my own creative process, coming to terms with the fact that, yes, I love being a painter. This is the best job in the whole entire world for me. And also, if you are not sustainable with your creative energy, you will burn out. And if you're not sustainable with your creative flow, you will come to the end of the pleasure in it. And that's something that I just don't ever want to experience ever again. I want this career to be extremely pleasureful. So within that mentality, as the one who gets the privilege, truly the privilege of running my own business, crafting my own creative career, I am also the one who is in charge of my brand in the bigger world, right? Like I am my own gallery representative, essentially. I am my own PR firm. I am my own marketing firm. I am my own everything. So as a creative who gets to do it all and gets to live in this most beautiful existence, we also have to be responsible and we have to be wise. And part of that is knowing how to share our work online, growing that online presence sustainably, and doing it in a way that just genuinely feels good. Now, I said that Instagram has changed everything, and that is absolutely true. 100%, it has changed everything. So let's talk about what has changed today, how we can use these shifts for our good. If you don't know what they are, you can't use them. So this is going to be really informative, I hope. I know. And let's talk about just what's happening in the world now, because as a creative, I want to spend as much time in the studio as possible and not as much time, learning about marketing and being a content creator as possible, if I'm being fully transparent with you. So let's get into that. Before we do, I have the most exciting announcement. This is the first time I'm actually saying this out loud, besides to my closest people that are closest to me in the whole world. Oh my gosh, wait, okay, we're having a moment. I am so excited to announce that, I don't even know how to pitch this yet. To be fully honest with you, I'm formulating my, what am I going to say? How do I describe this? How do I bring people into this magic in a podcast? Okay, let's see. I'm just going to try. Ready? Imagine this. You know, I love making artwork. You know, I love this online course. It's been online forever. We love it. It is so thorough. Many of you have gone through it. Many of these podcast listeners that are so precious to me have been inside of this space. If not, you know what it is. You probably have been in my world long enough to kind of catch the ethos of making artwork and to know how thorough it is and how transformative and sustaining it is for creatives. And I love that. And I love that it's online because we have people that join us from Hong Kong and Australia and London and Paris and Canada and Mexico and Brazil and literally circling the globe. There are people that have been making artwork, which is incredible. But when I was sitting down to kind of map out my personal dreams for the year, I dreamt of gathering in a room with creatives that are hungry to learn and to grow and that have that like spark of magic inside of them and know that there's just something like beautiful tucked inside their hearts and they want it to come out. And I want to be physically in the room and to help you do that. So, to make that dream happen, which I'm like, I'm smiling so big, it's actually kind of hard to talk. Okay, to make that, this is the least professional pitch I've ever given in my whole life. But to make that dream happen, I kind of like played with some ideas. We discussed having a world tour and like grand big things that honestly felt a little bit outside of my scope of possibility right now. And where I have settled feels so cozy and so welcoming. I am so excited to announce that we are going to be together in person if you'd like to join me in Atlanta, Georgia, which is a place that I visit. Oh my gosh, so often. I love this city. I go here. I can recommend such good things for us to do outside of the workshop times. But we're going to be gathering for 2 days in person in a beautiful venue, a beautiful space, staying in the same hotel if you want to, and having 2 very full days of sharing about our creativity and learning how to grow a business. I'm basically going to consolidate making artwork into 2 live in-person, very full days. And I'm so excited and I cannot wait. And it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be like the most beautiful blend of the magic of a retreat, but with the business insight and marketing expertise and just the general magic that happens when creatives come together. And I could not be more thrilled. I'm genuinely like glowing and I can't wait to see how this feels, how it comes together. I am so confident in my vision. You can't tell by the way I'm pitching this, but I really, really am. And just like the way that it's going to feel to be in that room and to look at your business and look at your creativity and to look around you and to look into the eyes of other creatives that say, this is possible. We are doing this alongside you. I am doing this alongside you. Here's how I'm doing it. We'll talk in small groups. We'll talk in larger groups. I'm not going to let these become very big. This is not going to become a conference. This is going to be intimate. This is going to be very intentional. And I want to keep it on the smaller side so that it feels like we can gather and we can get to know one another and I can know your name and like we can open up your website and talk about it, or we can talk about portfolios or we'll talk about Instagram today, but we'll talk more about it in that in-person space. And I'm so excited. So if you would like more information, click the link down below. I made a beautiful site to just kind of share my vision for this. There are more details there. You can see like a sample schedule, what I would like to cover. I will keep these very structured, very, very structured. Don't worry. There are printouts that I'm already writing and there are worksheets and ideas that we're going to formulate together. But I'm also excited because I'm creating enough margin to adapt to the needs of the group, to adapt to the needs of you. If you're in the room with us, then I'm going to be like, hi, how are you? What do you need? How can I support you? So I'm really excited to have that blend of like very structured content because making artwork is structured for a reason. It really takes you through the entire business unfolding. And I'm excited to just kind of like let that spill out into this in-person event. If you've already gone through making artwork, this will feel very different. If you're more of an in-person learning girly, same. And oh my gosh, you're just going to be lit up and so enabled by the end of this and so certain that you can do this. You can absolutely do this. So I'm excited. It'll be hands-on. It will be personable. It will be cozy. It will be very thorough. and you're going to meet some new friends. And selfishly, I can't wait to meet you. There are 2 different dates, each of them 2 days long. So either September 27th and 28th, which is a Saturday and Sunday, or November 8th and 9th, again, a Saturday and Sunday. I wanted those of us that have full-time jobs to be able to kind of, make this work. And I'm really, really excited about it. So 2 days, I have a hotel recommendation for you. I have just full vibe recommendations for your time in Atlanta. Again, I love this city and I frequent this city often and I know where to go. So let's do it. Okay, let's dive in today to the actual real content of this podcast episode. Social media and all of her beautiful ups and downs, how we can make this task really, really fun, genuinely so fun. I think sharing your work on social media, it has this, either you love it or you hate it, or you're somewhere in the middle, or you have these ups and downs. And that is 100% valid. Even those of us that really enjoy social media have to take a break from it. Okay. So we all kind of understand that it is a give and take, and the algorithm itself is mostly just a take with a little bit of give. So let's discuss a couple of just mindset shifts. I am never one to recommend vanity metrics. I am never one to place value on someone's work based on their follower count. That is extremely silly, in my opinion. I can see the value of your work by looking at your work, and I think your buyers can too. But more eyes on your work does mean you get more views and therefore more possible sales if it's the right audience seeing your work. But on that note, Instagram has substantially shifted how it shares your work. When you post something, how it actually gets published and distributed. So the biggest change is that Instagram has subtly but very, very powerfully shifted to supporting creators. So first tip right off the gate, I would recommend being a creator, not a personal account and not a business account. I recommend being a creator because Instagram is really prioritizing and building tools and incentivizing creators. And that makes sense, right? Because they're in the business of having a really, really cool app with a lot of interesting things to see and to enjoy and to participate in. And who creates those interesting pieces of content? Creators. So it's kind of a mutually beneficial situation. So I recommend, as someone that is a creative, you are, that is what you are. Just be in the creator side of Instagram and enjoy that. One of the subtle shifts in 2025 is there's less trend chasing and more consistently showing up as yourself. That will get you further in the app than trying to trace a trend. Trending audio is still a thing. There are cultural, trends that can be fun to play with. Yes, yes, yes. But consistently across the board, you don't need to perform or act like somebody else to make it on the app. And that's in like massive air quotes, by the way. You simply need to connect and be yourself. So that I think is really reassuring. I'm trying to settle into that myself as my marketing plan shifts for the year. Less trying to not look like someone else, obviously, because I don't ever do that. That's weird. But there is a certain novelty to chasing a trend that I think we can just kind of stop. Not entirely. Again, trending audio is helpful. Posting things that kind of catch that cultural moment is fun and can be helpful. But beyond that, the makers and the creators that are really doing the best and have consistently done the best are those that have settled into their own aesthetic and into their own way of sharing, their own method of sharing, and they just do it over and over again. And this is wonderful because the algorithm is clocking consistency. That is one of the biggest points I'm going to make today is the algorithm is looking for you to be consistent. Because once you're consistent, the algorithm, which is a silly little machine that is just, collecting data and and sharing that data according to what they think is best. They are looking for patterns that they can use to share your work with non-followers and with your followers. Your followers are not always going to see your posts. It's not the best, but it is what it is. Your posts will often be shared to non-followers based on the data that the algorithm is receiving from your content. So inconsistency means that the algorithm is less likely to share your content widely. Consistency means that when the algorithm sees you posting, they're like, oh, hey, that's a good content creator. They show up, once a week. It doesn't have to be a lot. It can be once or twice a week, but they show up at a certain pace, with a certain aesthetic, with certain content, with certain topics, with certain, you fall into a certain niche, and the algorithm knows where to share your work and how to promote your work and to who. These are incredibly important things because another big point I'm going to make is right now, because your follower count does not matter anymore. It's not completely pointless. It still helps. It still is, we want followers, of course. That's kind of, people are opting in to see your content, and that's lovely. But the nice thing is, you don't need to have a lot of followers to have a lot of reach. Now, they will often kind of pair. Like if you have a lot of reach consistently, you will also grow in followers, but the reach often comes first. So what I mean by reach is, let's say you post a carousel or you post a reel, which, by the way, those are the two most high performing content types for 2025. Put that in your back pocket. Okay, you post a carousel or you post a reel, in particular a reel. You post a reel. Instagram is going to share that with a lot of people, some of whom are your followers, some of whom are not, most of whom are not your followers. Again, the algorithm has tagged in your mind, in their mind, who you are, what you create, who you appeal to, who will be most interested in your work. And again, think about the algorithm's point. It is here to make sure that this app, Instagram is entertaining and insightful and fun and a great place for its users to just come and hang out, right? So if I began seeing a lot of NASCAR, I would be like, what is happening? This does not make sense. But the algorithm knows that I would be repulsed by that. No offense if you like NASCAR, it's just not my thing. So they're never going to show me NASCAR. They know that. Something in the algorithm already knows. Oh my gosh, I hope my phone's not listening to me. Phone, I do not want to see NASCAR. Okay, thank you. They already know that that's not my thing, and they're not going to start showing me a bunch of, guys in leather jackets racing cars. It's just not what I'm into. However, you know what I do see? A lot of beautiful bread. I don't even make bread, but for some reason I watch a lot of bread videos and flower arranging and gardening and home design and mid-century modern design and paint colors for 2025 and interior design trends and minimalist fashion and jewelry designers, a lot of ceramicists. This is what I want to see. Thank you, Instagram. I love it. And the app knows that, which is crazy. Yes, it's incredible, but it's using its intelligence. It's profiling me. It's profiling you. It's profiling your viewers. So in that vein, the more consistent you can be with how you show up, what you share, and where you share it, the better. So keep those things in mind. Okay, my next big point is Instagram is highly prioritizing conversations, and not even just between you and people that are watching your content or viewing your content, but between users. So people sharing your content with their friends, people that are saving your content, people that are having those conversations in the comments. Yes, that's so, so great. Back and forth commenting, sharing, DMing something to someone else. Those kinds of very big signals that say this matters, that cultural moment that says oh, this content is making waves. It doesn't even have to be a lot. It can be one person who saves your video. And by the way, the times that this happens most for me, I literally say, save this for later. And people are like, oh yeah, I need to save this for later. This is actually a really good idea. And they save it for later. So you can be very overt about it. You can be very call them into action in the way that you want them to take action, you can say, send this to your bestie, send this to the person buying you a gift, save this for later, comment and let me know what you think. What color should I use next? Please let me know below. I'll choose my favorite one and, go on from there. Creating that back and forth conversation, creating that interpersonal conversation, that's gold. Okay, format. Let's talk about format. I mentioned a minute ago that Reels and carousels are the primary formats that Instagram is prioritizing the very, very most. And that is absolutely true. The algorithm has changed to be heavily in favor of Reels. But then the new shift, we've known that that's been the case. The new shift is carousel posts are really coming in strong. Carousel posts are when you can, swipe through images or videos. By the way, you can do video carousel posts as well as images. So for those of us that like still images, I think this works so well. And it's very, very fun. Carousel posts are often shown twice. Usually the first image is shown first, the second image or video is shown second. So keep that in mind. And Reels are getting simpler. Oh, I'm so thankful about this. You can create Reels that are incredibly easy, incredibly low lift. You do not have to have a whole entire editing process. You can pop your phone up, you can record yourself, and you can just put some caption over it. My personal favorite is just to do a little voiceover and discuss whatever's happening, or talk about a thought process that I'm having, or talk about something that just is relevant to the video or to what's happening in my life. That's my favorite way to do this. You can also, again, choose that trending audio, put that with your reel. And again, this can be simple. You don't have to sit here and be a video producer. You can be just a girl in your studio creating something amazing. We're not here to be content creators. We're here to be artists primarily. Okay? Yes. I mentioned a moment ago, but I just really want to make sure that you hear this, that creating a thread between yourself and other users on the app is so important for the maturity of your account. And by maturity, I mean how it's going to rank within the algorithm. So DMs between you and your followers or your non-followers, just people that are in your sphere. DMs that pertain to your content between other people. Story replies, that's a really, really big one. You're signaling relationships, and the more relationships that can tie back to your content, the better. Okay, my next tip is actually, I think, delightful. I think this one's so much fun. Collaborations. Collaborative posts are a really, really big indicator to the algorithm that you have those interconnected threads, and you can now tag up to 3 collaborators on a single post. So this is a really great way of saying, hey, I'm connected to all these people in all of these different ways. The algorithm loves to see that, so play with that a little bit, see how you can make that work for you and your community, which I think is lovely. I already said this, but again, this is a really, really, really big point. Consistency is more important than frequency. I mentioned this earlier when I was like, you don't have to post every day. You can post once a week. The algorithm favors rhythm. Again, it's a pattern seeking software. I cannot stress this enough. So show up regularly. It does not have to be constantly. And I think this is a little bit nice. Stories are deprioritized right now, which means that we can really put our phones down and not worry about documenting in our stories, which a few years ago, stories were really, really, really a big deal because that was Instagram's new thing. People were enjoying it. It was kind of replacing Snapchat. Now we've moved on from that just as a collective conscious. And stories are now used to mature your current following and to help them feel really connected to you. That's that really big intimacy space. You can absolutely use your stories. My friend Viana does an incredible job using their stories. They talk about things that really interest and pertain to their followers. And I think they use stories incredibly well. So you can absolutely make them a big part of your marketing. Do not hear me wrong. Like, you can make them such an important part of how you communicate. But as far as the algorithm goes, stories aren't quite as prioritized in the like in the ecosystem of Instagram anymore. So I think that's kind of nice personally, because I was getting a little bit tired of creating so many stories all the time, and they go away, and it's just not quite as gratifying personally. So I feel good about that, but it is a little bit also strange and sad. Okay. My next point is hashtags are now SEO tools, not growth tools. So this is a shift. The algorithm used to use hashtags as a way of gaining, you could reach new followers, and it was a whole way of interconnecting things. They are still very useful for categorizing your posts. So think about search engine optimization, SEO. This is a way for, again, the algorithm to say you belong in this category. So they're not quite as effective for discoverability, but they are effective for categorization. So that's kind of a shift there, just to be really, really nerdy with it. You don't need to do hashtags and stories anymore. They do not help you at all. Don't even worry about it. And the current trend, which this may shift, is to use around 8 hashtags. I use about 4 or 5, if any, to be honest with you. I'm more relying on the algorithm being far more intelligent than a hashtag. Let's be very real. The algorithm is looking at the content that you're sharing. They're scanning it for imagery. They're scanning all of the text that you write in every single area, both on your reel or in your graphic or in your post or in your caption. It's scanning your bio. It's scanning everything about what you're doing. It knows who you are, and it knows who I am. It doesn't really need a hashtag to do that, but it can be an effective way of categorizing that individual piece of content. Let's say I began sharing some I don't know, flower arranging tips. If I were to hashtag flower arranging or floral design, that might be a good way of saying, hey, this is a little unusual for me. I usually post about painting and creativity, but here I am posting about flowers. It's not fully off base, but hey, algorithm, just so you know, this one's about flowers. So keep that in mind. They're not so effective for growth, but they are effective for categorization. I just mentioned that the algorithm scans everything, including your bio. This also means that your Instagram bio needs to be very, very clear, not only for the algorithm, yes, of course, but also make it clear and inviting for people that are scanning, or not scanning, but they're coming over to your account and they're checking it out. They're getting a vibe. They're getting a gist for what you create. If they click over from a reel that they just saw, when they go into your account, are they seeing more energy? Are they seeing that your posts feel energetic and exciting to them in line with what they just saw, essentially? And does your bio tell them, who you are, what you create, what you do quickly and effectively? I just saw a glass blowing sculpture artist that I'm as of today, obsessed with. I went over to their bio, saw they have a show in LA. I might be in LA during the time of the show, and I am literally planning on going to the show opening, or to the show itself. I don't think I'll make it to the opening because of their bio. So things like that can happen. You never know who's looking and seeing, and it's a great place of just making your account feel very professional and very inviting and very welcoming. So yeah, keep it clear and keep it welcoming. My last tip for today is one that some of you are going to go, no, I don't want this tip, but it's a really good tip. Humans love to follow humans. The more you can share your personality, the more you can be yourself and be unique. Be you. You are already unique, and you are already beautiful, and you are already intrinsically you, obviously. Just be you in this space. That is a really, really nice shift. I think that's happening. I feel like from 2022 to 2024, we were kind of told to be a mold. We were kind of told to do things a certain way and look a certain way. And towards the end of last year, in through this year, and I hope it continues, I feel like we're being rewarded for being authentically ourselves, and just show up as yourself. Use the tools at your fingertips. Be smart about it. Be someone who, let's just be fully blunt about it. Be someone who's worth following. And I don't mean that to say that anyone's not worth following by any means whatsoever. But if you only have so much capacity to enjoy content and follow new people, be someone who's high up on that list. That's maybe my biggest tip overall. If I could just recommend one thing, be you and be consistent in that. Reels, carousel posts, The other tips are also very helpful, but those two really are, I think they're just freeing for one, and also really effective. So lean into those, enjoy it, be someone who is delightful to follow, who shows up consistently. You don't have to show up every day. Once or twice a week is enough, thank goodness. And just maybe reignite your own personal enjoyment with this app and with social media in general. Find ways to make this fun for you, and that will show through. People will get a sense for your pleasure and your joy, and they'll be like, oh, I'm in. I want to follow this person. This is exciting to me. You know what I did recently, which maybe will help if you're like, I really don't want to do any of this. If you're kind of like, if you're in that headspace, you know what I would do if I were you? I would open up your Instagram account and I would unfollow like 20 people. I know that sounds so strange, but unfollow 20 people. And now what I think is in my mind, okay, I've unfollowed people that I just don't really see. I don't really care to see. And that is okay, by the way. It's okay. You can do that. And what I would do is I would think of it like, okay, now I have credits to follow 20 more people, 20 new people that excite me, and they make this fun for me, and they make this a space that I want to be in. Because maybe it's just that your app feels kind of dull and kind of like not very fun for you. So if a little follower refresh, if a little like cleansing of the energy of your own space feels good. I did that recently and it felt really exciting. And maybe that's kind of all you need to re-inspire yourself. My final thoughts for you on the Instagram topic is, I hope one that is extremely freeing. You do not need to go viral to be successful on this app. Okay. I watched a lot of people go viral, and literally because of the algorithm and because of their own energy, maybe a combo of the two, they go viral and then they fizzle out. It happens all the time. So don't worry about going viral. Do not try to chase that vanity metric. It is not really a real metric. And also going viral often brings people into your space that aren't actually your buyers, which again, if you're selling your work, that is your main goal. Okay. That's your main goal, not getting a vanity metric, not getting followers that aren't quite in your proper niche. You're here to attract people that are meant to be in your space, and you do not need to go viral to do that. Consistently show up in a rhythm that makes sense for you. Enjoy the process. You do not need to grow overnight. Growth is real and you will achieve it. You will have it, but it's best when it matches your life, your values, and your energy. And I suspect you're probably already doing enough. You're probably already on the right path. Now we just need to simplify it, clarify it, maybe even systematize it so that it's easier to repeat patterns. Because again, we're working with a pattern-loving software. Okay, keep that in your mind. That means consistent brand, consistent fonts, consistent video style, just be consistent. Okay, you're hearing me, right? Now, just add intention, add a little bit of strategy, a little bit of ease, a little bit of play, a little bit more fun, and don't worry about being the biggest fish in the pond. You don't need to be. You do not need to be. I have never gone viral, and I don't need to, and you don't either. So we can just stop doing that, or stop aiming for that if that's what you think you might need to make it in this world. You do not. You absolutely do not. I hope this has been refreshing and maybe clarifying and hopefully helpful. I'm excited to see how this year shifts. I'm sensing a very positive shift for social media. I'm genuinely excited about it. The things that I'm telling you fill me with hope and a resurgence of like, oh yeah, we've got this. I know the algorithm shifts can be unsettling and frustrating, but this shift genuinely feels good. So I hope that's helpful to hear. I hope that feels like a bit of a weight off your shoulders. And I can't wait to see you in real life very soon. Again, the info to join Making Artwork live and in person in Atlanta, Georgia is down below. You can click the link or just go to my website, emilydeffortslearn.com. And if you've enjoyed this podcast, I would love it if you would follow this podcast and give me a little 5-star review. That would be lovely. I would love that very, very much. And you can also message me, DM me on Instagram. That would actually be really cool. Creating those threads of connection, right? And we can have a conversation around this episode about creativity, about whatever you'd like. I love sharing long form thoughts in this space, but I'm just talking to myself. So be in conversation with me. All right. I'll see you in real life very soon. I'll see you back in this space also very soon. Thanks for being here. Bye for now.